It's changed quite a bit. So much more now, the training for it. You know, guys start the minute the season is over, and they're going off to different sites, and they're training, their starts and all these things to have good numbers here. For me, when the football season was over, it was kind of like I'd either go play baseball or be a break altogether. So it was just a different mentality back then. So much more intense, the coverage. You guys being here, you know, it would not have happened back in 1985. So, I mean, I showed up on a grass field with high-top black cleats to run my 40. And so, I mean, you know, guys are in track shoes now. So, and they're running on artificial turf. So it's just the whole thing's a lot different.
My comp on him is Kelechi Osemele. I mentioned that earlier, who I thought as an all-Pro Bowl guard is the prototype for him. He can probably survive out wide. It just, for me, was a question of balance and getting overextended with some speed. But as the kid told Kim, you know, he handled an awful lot of speed from an awful lot of speed rushers in the SEC for the last 3 years. So there's my comparison. I love the way Kelechi Osemele's played, both in Baltimore and in Oakland. Left tackle to guard. They're both maulers and really solid pass pro guys, and I feel like they both are seated internally in that offensive line because of what they do best, which is they're inside maulers. They're not going to be exposed to a lot of space outside, and boy, I just think he's going to be a Pro Bowl guard.
Good potential fits for a Brandon Marshall or an Alshon Jeffrey.
I like an Alshon Jeffrey in Tampa because there are no title expectations. Mm-hmm. You know, with Evans and the crew, with Jameis Winston throwing the football, having an additional weapon at wideout, somebody that has the long term, that you got a long-term view with. I like that possibility for him. With Brandon Marshall, I'm thinking Pittsburgh. I'm thinking New England. I'm thinking spots like that, to be quite honest with you. Even Oakland, if he could find his way there. I like a Brandon Marshall in a situation like that.
Yeah, I can see Brandon Marshall, again, a veteran team that's on the cusp with New England Patriots type of team. Hey, listen, even here we go with the Cowboys, but even a number 2 position with the Cowboys, I mean, you can find some spots for Brandon Marshall, but he's not going to go to a team that's in a rebuilding process. The kid wants to win a Super Bowl. He hasn't even won a playoff game. He's trying to get to the ultimate.
Then he don't need to go to Dallas.
Well,
he don't need to go to Dallas.
I'm not even saying just Dallas. I'm saying there's teams that are out there that deserve that number 2 guy. That he can be that guy. But again, Alshon Jeffries is going to be about the money. I see a team like the Tennessee Titans are a team that run the ball, and they need a deep threat at the end. I think
good offensive line.
Rams, Niners, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. I will say this. Let me be very, very clear. I'm good with my man Brandon Marshall. That's my brother. Just spoke to him a few minutes ago. If he goes to the Dallas Cowboys, I'll never speak to him again.
Yes,
I'll never speak to him again. I will never speak to him again.
It's a good feeling. I think it really speaks volume to Mark Davis in terms of what he's trying to build there. And I think it talks a lot about a lot of people were short-sighted and wanting, like, even with Reggie McKenzie, right? First couple of years, everybody's like, I don't know about this Reggie McKenzie. But if you give him time, and he's obviously done a great job with the organization. With Jack Del Rio, the same thing, like his second opportunity. And I think he's learned so much from what he'd learned in Jacksonville. He's become a better head coach, and he is a better head coach because of it. So now you get the 4-year extension for him. And when you know that your head coach and your GM are kind of on the same page, then you know you've got a chance to keep moving forward because Reggie knows what Jack's looking for. And Jack knows who Reggie is and how to just talk to him on a day-to-day basis. And I'm telling you, that's a huge, it sounds so trivial, it's a huge part of building a football team. They're doing it the right way.
Week 16, that injury. Granted, he doesn't have to play a game tomorrow, James. What do you hear about Derek Carr's recovery?
As you heard Jack Del Rio say, Andrew, that he is maybe ahead of schedule, that he did say, a couple of months before things start getting ramped up. And you saw what he said about heading into the playoffs, losing your quarterback. I was with the Raiders down the final stretch with them heading into the playoffs and talking with people in the organization. Even before that loss to the Houston Texans, they were telling me that the air is just out of the room, out of the locker room. Even though guys were talking to me like Michael Crabtree were saying things like, he is our biggest leader, but he's not our only leader. We can move on without him. But then other people behind the closed doors telling me, we know where we stand without Derek Carr. You know the importance of him. And now that the health is really headed in the right direction, as you heard Jack Del Rio say, remember, talks of a contract extension, of a new contract for Derek Carr. Now, the initial thought I was told is that they were going to try to figure things out in terms of Vegas and then work on Derek Carr's contract. But now with Vegas kind of up in the air and what things are happening, I'm told talks have not started yet, Andrew, but they could progress. And you have to think of things like, what was Kirk Cousins paid? $20 million, $24 million in 2 years. What is Derek Carr's worth? You saw what he's worth to this team when they lost him in the playoffs. That entire organization knows the worth of Derek Carr, particularly the guys that he's throwing the football.
I thought the whole AFC West was competitive. I mean, and then you have that Raider Chief thing that's been going on for a number of years, and it's developed into a nice rivalry. Jack's done a heck of a job up there. He just got complimented for his works with a new deal, I guess, or whatever was written out there. So that's a plus. I expect he'll be there for a while, and that's always good. Good competition. We love that. We love playing each other, I think, and that competition is why you do this.
Mac's a great player. He's obviously a great pass rusher. In that division alone, every team has a pair of rushers. In San Diego, you've got Bosa and Ingram, and KC, you've got two guys. We've got two guys in Denver, and obviously Oakland with those two guys. So it's important to have tackles, in that division, because every team can rush the passer.
Yeah, they're both dynamic football players, and very good at what they do. Can rush the passer, have tremendous power, and so. Two very, very good football players that, when you talk about defensive ends and pass rushers, you're going to talk about those two guys.
Jack has said it himself not that long ago. He may have said it at his press conference today. That interior defensive line push that can complement Khalil Mack. Too much of the quarterback pressure comes from Khalil Mack in proportion to the rest of the defensive line. You need to take advantage of the presence of a guy like Mack and all the attention he gets, and you need to have talented players at the other positions among the front seven who can get through the line of blocking when there are multiple guys trying to keep Khalil Mack from getting to the quarterback. That's the key. I think it makes it a very attractive spot. Look, when it's a great team and there aren't many needs, and you're one of the guys that fills one of those needs, yeah, you want to play for the Raiders.
Two things that why he felt. Number one, his last name was Carr. Unfair. Completely unfair, but that was one. And number two, everybody overanalyzed the USC bowl game. In terms of how he performed against USC, and everybody's like, oh, look how he did against big competition. And I think too many scouts said he didn't do a great job in that game and started to say, well, he can't rise to the occasion, instead of saying, look at the entire body of work he's had. Look how he throws the ball here at the Combine. Look at his pro day. And that's where he fell a little bit, but I think it was unfair because I think we put too much emphasis on one game instead of, and thinking of his last name, instead of let's evaluate his release mechanics, because he has as quick a release as Aaron Rodgers or anybody in the league. He's a huge difference maker. I was a huge proponent of him prior to the draft. I think I was the only person on ESPN saying I think he's a first-round quarterback. But obviously Reggie McKenzie saw the right things about him and didn't worry about the name on the back of the jersey. He watched what he did with the football in his hand. It's special. I think Derek's there. I think Derek's already a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Now it's just a matter of how far can he take it. But he doesn't have to do more. It's just like what they're trying to do now. Let's surround him with some more talent. Let's surround this defense, get the ball back to him a little more often, and he'll be fine because he's that good. Derek's that good.
I think you need to improve at corner. I think for sure. I think the middle linebacker spot is one that could be changing hands, and you could make a improvement there. I think also in the running back position, we just saw Christian McCaffrey benching over here. I know his name's been tossed around. If you can get somebody that's versatile that could be one of those, and I know two pretty good young running backs in Richard and Washington, what they were able to do early. If you can get a guy that catches the football, maybe in the backfield, when you got guys that go deep so well, and Derek has something that can kind of dump off in a running game to complement what they do in the passing game, I think really you're right. It is nitpicking. You got to look when you start doing that. You start looking for depth too, especially at the cornerback spot too. You look for let's make sure we're taken care of, and that's a great group here at this combine in terms of a position group and the running back group. So if they wanted to draft it back, they could get a good one second, third round. Same thing with the corner.
Hey, what's up, guys? Checking in. The last couple days have kind of been winding down everything for me. I've done a bunch of exit interviews. I've kind of shared my opinions on what I think football's like out here, how we can improve, what we can do better, how we can make China really appreciate and love this game. I went to another Sharks game today, so I'm rocking this. Apparently Jimmer got the MVP of the CBA, so good for him. But last night we actually had the opportunity to eat dinner with a bunch of Raiders fans out here in Shanghai. And I'm actually eating dinner with one right now. Say what's up.
Guys, what's up? My name's Jamie. I'm the MC of the Shanghai Sharks. Very happy to be hanging out with James. It's been awesome. You know, the camps and everything he's been doing with the kids has been awesome. He's a diehard Sharks fan now. So I got him into the CBA. So Sharks and Raiders, maybe we could do a little something together sometime. But yeah, Raiders for life, baby. Raiders for life. Just win.
That's Al Davis. So it shows I'm with a Brit in Shanghai, China,